as she talks about life. Everyday people just trying to make it through life. Keep it 100 with Meshell as she talks about life. Everyday people just trying to make it through life. Keep it 100 with Meshell as she talks about life. Everyday people just trying to make it through life. Keep it 100 with Meshell as she talks about life. Everyday people just trying to make it through life. Keep it 100, keep it 100, keep it 100, 100, 100. Keep it 100, keep it 100, keep it 100, 100, 100.
Well, hello to everyone, and we are grateful to be here on tonight. We're honored to have been asked by myself on tonight to interview one of my favorite people, Meshell.A, and we are indeed excited about it. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the interview. Meshell, are you there?
Good evening. Super
Good
excited.
evening to you. We are
I'm
so
hyped.
excited.
I'm hyped.
We are excited. We are excited. We anticipate this evening. Could not wait to get here. And so, as I said earlier, we're just going to jump right in because I'm excited to hear from the person who's always on the opposite side of the table interviewing others. And now it is your opportunity tonight. So, Meshell, I want to ask you, I have about 25 questions. I'm not sure if we'll get through all of them, but if not, we'll have to have a part two.
Okay. All
Now,
right.
my first question to you is who is your hero? Who is the person that has really played a significant part in your life, who has had a great impact, and
Wow.
someone you would call your hero?
So my hero is, well, I have a lot of heroes, but my hero is my grandmother. May she rest in peace.
Uh-huh.
That was my best friend. That was
Mhm.
the person that I shared a lot of my ups and my downs with. And
Mhm.
so now kind of missing my hero. It's a
Yeah.
little, it's a little lonely on this end,
Mhm.
but that was my
Mhm.
hero. She had a struggle with trying to manage life and all that kind of stuff, but she had a lot of wisdom. So that's my
Mhm.
hero.
Yes, it's something about grandmoms. We have a tendency to be able to reach a place in our lives wherein we are able to share some insightful wisdom unto our granddaughters, our grandchildren, sometime, whomever. My next question is, when was the last time you tried something new? When was the last time you tried something new? I know that you have a busy schedule. I know that you're doing lots and lots of things, but when was the last time you tried something new?
Oh wow. That's a good question. It's a good question because I have like a routine. I do the same thing over and over, and that's not a good thing.
Hmm.
So I would say August the 7th. My birthday was August the 6th.
Uh huh.
So on August the 7th, I tried something new. I never had a gathering as far as concerning my birthday.
Hmm.
So I took a minute and I celebrated me.
Okay.
And I invited people, my closest friends, I invited them to my home. That was something new. I
Hmm.
invited them to my home. I invited them to my space.
Uh-huh.
And it was refreshing. It was
Mhm.
really refreshing. So that was the first time I tried something new, or the last time that I tried something new.
Absolutely. It's exciting when we go beyond our own personal boundaries and step outside and do something that we've never done before. Uh, and you find that it's very rewarding. The next question: who do you sometimes compare yourself to? Because we all do. I mean, and not in the sense that we're trying to, mimic them or perhaps trying to imitate what they do, but who do you compare yourself to?
Well, okay. I would say I don't know. That's a good question. I want to say my mother.
Huh?
I want to say my mother, but we are so different, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of things that I do, Apostle Brenda Smack does,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, or she says, or my low voice is like hers,
Hmm.
different things like that. So I would say, I would want to say probably my mother.
Now, when I was writing this question, I certainly thought about your mother. You can compare yourself to her because you have some similarities like her, and not that you are her, but you do. So I'm grateful. I got that. I got that answer
Yeah,
correct.
I
Yay!
mean my actions, some of my demeanor. Sometimes I could be talking or doing something, and I'll be like, oh my God, I sound just
That's
like
what
my
mom
mom.
does. Hey, listen, if we didn't do that, we would think that something is wrong with us because the truth of the matter, biologically, we do have some of our mother's DNA. Amen. Amen to that.
It is
My
a
next question is, what gets you excited about life? What gets you excited about life?
what gives
We
me
find a lot of people, we were talking about this earlier, but we find a lot of people that are dealing with some challenges, especially now with the pandemic being here with us. But what do you find exciting? Or what gets you excited about life?
what gets me, and this might be to somebody else that might be crazy, but
But
what
this is you. We are actually
Li-
talking to you
Listen,
today.
even when I'm talking about it, I'm passionate about it. What gets me excited is when I am a woo. That was a good question. What gets me excited is that I am able to help other people, like helping the homeless. That's life for me. Like when I'm talking about it right now, it's like part of me is just like, oh, I could cry.
Hmm.
Just seeing other people who are helpless, who are in need,
Yeah.
just being there for someone, because I felt like a lot of my challenges, people weren't there for me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if
Hmm.
I can help somebody, I'm not talking about help somebody and then say, hey, I did this, I did. I'm talking about helping people behind the scenes,
Absolutely.
helping people in
Hmm.
that way. So that is really what excites me, to be
Hmm.
able to help people who are really in need, the homeless and all of that.
Yeah, and that is a good place to be, and to be able to exhibit that, especially now because we have so many needs. And the thing about it is, I'm one of those persons as well. The reward is just overwhelming, and not to mention the fact of the adrenaline that we get, that high that you get. You really
Yes.
feel great about being able to help somebody else that's misfortunate than we are. I love that. Now, I want to ask this question. What life lesson did you learn the hard way? what life lesson did you learn
Ooh.
the hard way? Because
Let
you
me
know,
tell
life,
you, let me tell you something. These questions, woman of God.
and I'm asking because I can identify with all of them.
Yeah.
I really can, and I think any one of us who are actually alive right now can say for our own selves that we have learned some things. So I want to know, what life lesson did you learn the hard way?
So the life lesson that I learned the hard way and I'm still learning is it is okay to put your walls down, right? I learned that it's not okay to suffer in silence.
Hmm. Yes.
I learned a lot of lessons. Okay, so if you were
Uh-huh.
looking for one answer, I'm sorry. I
Mhm,
learned a lot of
mhm,
lessons. I'm still learning. The lesson that I learned that it's somebody out there for everybody.
mhm,
I lived a life where my walls were always up. I didn't
mhm,
trust people.
mhm,
My personal truth, my personal emotions,
mhm,
I didn't. And I'm learning how
mhm,
to be able to share those things with
mhm,
people
mhm,
because when you get in a place behind closed doors, if there's nobody there to help
mhm,
you, it's
mhm,
overwhelming. I mean,
mhm,
it
mhm,
literally is overwhelming. So I've learned that there's a lot of people who are out there who are suffering in silence. And
mhm,
it's
mhm,
okay to speak. It's okay to
mhm,
say, you know what,
mhm.
Pastor Bailey, I'm hurt today, or
Yeah.
I'm upset and I'm mad. And so I'm learning to open up my mouth and speak for myself and
Mhm,
not let
mhm,
people speak for me. I
mhm.
know that was a lot. I'm sorry, but
No, but it is your life lesson that you have learned, and I think when I hear you talk about that, that is not an easy place to really what we say mature to, because again, with all of the things that we deal with in life, sometimes it allows us to really put the walls up because we've had so many things that we have really been traumatized by. But
mhm,
it's a good thing to be able to let it down, especially as you said a moment ago. And I pray that if anybody's listening, and I hope that they are, that they hear that you don't have to suffer in silence. And I think it's a real value, especially now, for those of us that really know the truth, that we always be at a place where we're exhibiting kindness and gentleness and love for people, which will make them more receptible of want to talking to you and I. You understand what I'm saying? They
mhm.
would be more willing. So,
Yeah,
so I thank you for that. I thank you
yeah.
for that. And it's not as I said before. It's not easy
Mm-mm.
because no one wants to be hurt. No one wants their trust violated. You don't
Right.
want that. But one of the things that I can see you have grown in that place, which is a
Yeah.
wonderful
What
place to
that's
be.
because I work on I have to work on healing every
Yes.
single day.
Mhm.
Not to be spiritual, but the Bible says that Paul had to beat his flesh
Okay.
every single day. And
Mhm.
somebody else might measure that to being something else. But for me, it means I have to discipline my emotions
Mhm.
because your emotions can be a roller coaster ride, right? 1 minute you up, 1 minute you're down, 1 minute you think somebody's saying this, 1 minute. And so most of the majority of my life, I was people pleasing, or I was worried about how people
Yeah.
looked at me or perceived me,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
I'm a preacher's kid.
Mhm.
I couldn't get it together. I could not cross every T and dot every I
Mhm.
like them church people wanted me to. I fumbled.
Mhm.
And then when I came to the realization that, you know what, God is a forgiving God,
Mhm.
and you make a mistake, brush yourself off, get up and try again, no
Mhm.
matter what people say. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So every single
Absolutely.
day I am
Mhm.
disciplining my emotions. I'm disciplining how I feel about myself. I look in the mirror every day. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm a designer's original.
Keep.
Because listen, because we can be honest. Yes, a lot of people might like you, and a lot of people might think highly of you, but not everybody every day is going to say something nice to encourage you.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I have to speak it into my own, I'll say,
Mhm.
I speak it in my atmosphere and
Mhm.
trusting God that it'll fall into my heart. And
Mhm.
then that way I can walk, because
Mhm.
I can't always depend on somebody else to be able
Mhm.
to be my hand lifter, or it
I-
should be somebody there, but it's not
mhm.
always the case.
Mhm. I think you said something very important because I'm at that place in life wherein I had to be delivered from people. And one of the way of getting deliverance, a lot of times people think that, when you say deliverance, immediately somebody thinks that you have a demon, but it's not necessarily so. As you just spoke about a moment ago, it's about dealing with your own self and having the ability to speak over yourself, what God says about you, and being able to believe that, and allowing what you speak that comes out of your mouth, but allowing both your heart and your mouth to come in agreement with that.
Yeah.
And you do that. I put something out on today, Facebook. I talked about discipline. If you're going to move forward, you got to learn how to discipline, and you got to be consistent in that. And it's a consistent walk that we must have. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that, what
So
you
can
just
I
said.
share this?
Really.
I want to
Sure.
share this one thing
Yes.
that's so important to me. Okay. Being you're interviewing me, I want people to know who I am.
Mhm.
So coming up, and I share it on some of my lives.
Mhm.
I don't want to say special needs, but I wasn't the smartest person in the
Okay.
class,
Mhm.
right? And I had a hard time reading. I had a hard time math. I had a hard time with just focusing.
Mhm.
And when I got older, I allowed people to be like, you're dumb, you're stupid, or you'll never be this, you'll never be that. And so I had to condition my mindset, and
Absolutely.
I still do it. I had
Mhm.
to condition my mindset. What can I do that can push me forward? What can
Mhm.
I do that, well, I won't fall between the cracks? I know that I can't keep up with the line, but how
Mhm.
can I stay in the line? There
Absolutely.
was there
Yes.
was little different things that I did. Like when
Mhm.
I worked at the Hampton Inn, I never worked on a computer before. I didn't know anything about it. So because I worked graveyard shift, then I got the computer and I started messing around on the computer, and I learned how to do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of things that I may not know how to do, but you can't tell me that I can't do it. I
That's
might be a
true.
little slower than the next person. So I've disciplined myself to say, I'm not smart. I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
I'm not dumb. I'm
Absolutely.
not dumb. I
Mhm.
will survive. I
Mhm.
will make it.
Mhm.
I don't want to just have street smart. I want to
Yes.
have the knowledge. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna say this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. So when I started the radio station, I was on the radio station, and I sat in the office with a producer and his wife,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
another gentleman who introduced me to them. And they're asking me, what's your passion, concern, and keep it 100, and all this stuff. And I sat there because when you asked me what's my passion, as you seen a while ago, I get
Yes.
excited. And
Yes.
so I
Uh-huh.
started telling them why I do keep it
Mhm.
100,
Mhm.
my purpose, the baby, all that kind of stuff. And when I finished, they asked me, well, what college? No, what college did you go to? I said, what college did I go to? Yeah, what's your degree? I said, I don't have a degree. And they were, both of them were shocked. And I said, why do you say that? He said, because I'm listening to how you articulated everything and what you were saying. He said, and I could have swore you went to a college. And I said, no, I didn't. I said, that's God's number. At the time I left, that was my ding, ding, ding moment.
Uh-huh.
Like, you
Uh-huh.
are really smarter
Mhm.
than
Mhm.
what you think.
Uh-huh.
So I learned to think about myself
Mhm.
as high as other people think
Mhm.
of me, if
Mhm.
that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it a moment ago. You said I condition, which means you denounce what people said, and you dismissed all of their thoughts or words or what have you, and you discipline yourself. And here you are today. Reading not long ago, and I'm sure there's many people out there that know that, but there are a lot of millionaires out there, multi-millionaires, who cannot read, who cannot write, but they have this gifting, uh, that they do what they do,
And
and
we,
they do it with the spirit of excellence. So
yeah.
there again, it goes right back to you. It's not about having a college degree, but it is about having the man in your life.
And believe in who you are
Because
and believe in
because
who God created you to be. If you
absolutely.
don't believe that, you if you don't believe that, you're not going to survive it. You can hear 1,000 voices speaking around you saying you not, you not, you not. But if you believe what they say, then you're not going to be that. But if you believe what
Absolutely.
God says, that's all that matters.
And that's true. And so again, you said, I denounce it. I don't care what you say. I don't receive it. It's not who I am. And then the other thing is, when you said that a moment ago, we look at the scripture when the disciples, I think it was, they were disciples, and maybe they were apostles. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. Um, and they were before some men, and the men said, "You're just fishermen." But there's something about the way you articulate now. I can tell you've been with Jesus. So it just goes to show that he has the power and the authority to change us. And he can do that. You know, you have us speak as though we graduated from Harvard or Yale.
Uh,
He can do all of that. But I think that more importantly, he just wants us to remain humble like you are.
right.
That's one of the things that I love about you. You're humble, you know, and you're candid and you're honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I find is that people are more likely to gravitate towards you than they would a person of arrogance.
So I always this is what I say, and I say it in the office all the time. Somebody may say, "Oh my God, you did a great job," or "How did you do this?" I can't even explain how it happened. I can't explain what was done. And to me, that keeps me humble by not knowing.
It's
You know
key.
what I mean? I have no clue.
Mhm.
And for me, I say it all the time. It keeps me humble that I don't know how to do it. It keeps
Right.
me humble that I'm not smart as you are,
Mhm.
because I know that it's God. And in order for it to happen again, it's got to be God.
Absolutely. And as one of my little grandkids said, he gives me the juice to do it.
That's good.
so
Exactly.
so he gives you the juice to do what you do. I love that. All right, the next question is, what do you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago? What do you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago?
What do I wish I spent more time loving myself? Like just loving on me because I'm a good person.
Yeah.
Like just enjoying who I am.
Mhm.
Just I just say that just loving on me because I was in depression. I dealt with anxiety. Like this was almost my whole entire life.
Mhm.
I've had almost my life. I've had struggles.
Yeah.
My whole entire life, I've had struggles, and so I measured my struggles with who I thought I was. And so because I had so many struggles, I thought God was mad with me.
Mhm.
I couldn't keep, just loving myself is what
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
do if I do
Mhm.
different.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you. And I feel like I feel that, you know, as you're speaking about that, loving yourself. I pray that we do more of it now than ever, because there are some hurting people out there. We said it a moment ago. There's some people out there that are suffering in silence. There's some people out there that don't have good self esteem. You know what I mean? There's some people out there that have had some things to happen to them, and sometimes they don't feel worthy enough to love themselves.
And
So,
it is so
absolutely,
important. I'm
it
learning that
is.
it's so important to take a minute and breathe.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
my dad told me this. My whole entire life, I worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I worked because I had to work, not I worked because I wanted to. I had to work. And so my dad was like, "Shay, you're doing all this working, but you aren't paying yourself." And I
mhm.
was like, "Paying myself? Yeah, make sure that you appreciate you in the midst of all that you're doing." And so
Absolutely.
that's when I started learning. I don't care if it's $10, $15. Do something for you first before you take care of a bill, before you give anybody else anything. Make sure that you appreciate you in whatever way that is. And so that's
Absolutely.
how I am now. I
Mhm,
appreciate me
mhm.
before I wait for anybody else to do it. And
Mhm.
that is so important for us to do. We're so busy with helping and being there for everybody else. And here we over here dying and depressed and anxiety, and nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. Nobody's discerning it. Nobody's picking it up. And you're
Uh-huh.
falling between the cracks. The next morning comes, you're right on the same thing. people, all you hear is, I need this, and you're doing it. You're doing it. So make sure you put you. Listen, you're not gonna go to hell if you love on you first.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think it would be your ticket in.
That's good. That's good.
I would think that that would be the ticket in. But then there was a thing they used to say a long time ago. I think it was basically a cliche. Says Jack that works all the time, and I can't remember how it is, but in other words, it was saying if Jack spends so much time working, he forgets that he needs to play. In other words, he forgets that he needs to take care of himself and pay himself. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, I put myself on mute. Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Yes,
Uh-huh.
it
So
does.
I think that what your father shared with you is something that I see that you're doing now. My next question: do you ask more questions, or do you settle for what you know? Do you ask more questions, or do you settle for what you know?
Hmm. Do I ask concerning life, or because that's
Life,
a loaded question?
job, people,
Do I ask more
relationships,
questions?
whatever. Do you ask more questions,
I
or do you
think it's not good, but I think I settle for what I know.
for what you know?
And what I know may not be the right answer, but because I know it, or because it happened to me before, or I'm familiar with that, I just settle. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do better. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I was thinking about the fact that,
Look at Bishop.
well,
I'm gonna do better.
what if it was something that you didn't know? Then the other thing I was thinking of, there are people who are afraid to ask questions because they feel like it is a stupid question. And sometimes it makes them feel
Oh,
like,
okay. Well,
you,
let me
I
flip
don't want
that
nobody
then.
to really think that I'm not that intelligent. But, I was always taught by the teacher, you're supposed to ask questions.
Okay, so can I flip my answer now that you explained that? Listen,
Yeah.
I ask thousands. We're talking about right now. I ask thousands of questions. Sometimes it's because I don't know. Sometimes it's because I want to make sure before I give an answer or I do a thing. Um, just for instance, marriage. If I'm dating somebody, he gonna get. I'm gonna get on his nerve because I'm gonna ask 1,000 questions. I'm not just going to jump into something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, on that note, I think I ask more questions
Yeah,
than what I
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah. And there's never a wrong question. It's only the one that you don't ask.
My best friend said, yes, I do.
All right. My next question is, what is your response when people mimic what you do? What is your response when people mimic what you do? Notice I said mimic. And the reason why I say that is because
Oh,
whenever there is a first, that first stays with the individual who actually implemented. Other people can go off and do it, but um, when they do, some of them are just mimicking what you do. What is your response when people mimic you?
and being transparent, being honest and transparent, it hurts my feelings.
Mhm.
It does.
Yes.
And then after I go through that emotional roller, because I work hard to do what I do. You know what I mean? I work hard, and a lot of times I don't even know what I'm doing, but I work hard at doing what I don't know what I'm doing.
Now when you say that, you say you work hard. Um, Specify what do you do? Because and the reason why I say that is because tonight we're sitting here, and I notice that you come on all the time. I think about 2 times a week. I'm assured that there's some people out there like myself don't really understand and have any idea what you really have to do to really implement a show. So tell us, what do you do? Because I'm just thinking you just pop on screen, you got your makeup on and your earrings on, and you're like, okay, let me ask a few folks a few questions, and then ta da da da, off we go, and we come back again the next day.
No.
What do you do?
First of all, let me say thank you for asking that because no
Mhm,
one has ever asked that. I don't
mhm.
think anybody has even been even concerned about that. So thank you for
Wow.
asking that question.
Hmm.
I say it takes a lot because I have to mentally prepare. I'm praying. It's not nothing all deep or anything like that, but I'm praying because there may be thousands of people who watch, and
Yeah.
this show runs over and over and over again.
Hmm.
I want to have a wholesome show that may hit the people where they are, to give them
Hmm.
answers, to give them solutions to whatever. So not me, but I'm bringing the right people on. So I have to make sure that I have the right guest.
Hmm.
I always make sure that I have balance because I'm going to talk about life. I'm going to talk about things that are happening right here. I
Hmm.
don't like to talk over people's head. And then, honey, I can get real fleshly. So I make sure I have a leader on every show so
Hmm.
that there's balance. Because
Yes.
also people who are watching and who are ready to pull
Hmm.
things apart. So that's first and foremost. And you can't have everybody on the platform because some people have alts against leaders. Some leaders have alts against the members. Some people, so I have to really weed out all of that. I had to come up with the topics.
Hmm.
What are the topics that we're going to talk about?
Hmm.
And I normally pray and ask God for that. The production part of it, I'm still working on that, but I do the production, I do the intros, I do the flyers, all
Hmm.
of that kind of stuff. And once I put that up there in the airwaves, then I'm working on, well, which direction are we going to go? As far as the questions and stuff, that's why I always make sure I'm prayerful. I think that's a gift. I'm not going to lie. I think it is a gift because I can randomly come up with thousands of questions off the
Hmm.
top of my head, and I know that that's God.
Hmm.
Um, and I have to figure out which app to use. Sometimes I use Zoom because we
Hmm.
may have 10 or more people,
Hmm.
but my comfort zone is StreamYard because I have
Hmm.
all of my bells and my whistles that are already in there. So that's
Okay.
pretty much. And then I make sure that once we go live, that the people know that we are live. We
Hmm.
are live. So I'm
Hmm.
always sharing. Like I was working while you're asking me questions. I'm still working behind the
Hmm.
scenes.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it never stops.
Hmm. Okay, so I'm grateful to hear that because there's an awful lot that you do being just one person. My prayer is after hearing this tonight, um, I'm hoping that there is somebody that will, have a heart, have compassion, that they say, you know what, I got a skill in production, I got a skill in gathering questions, I've got a skill in how to maybe while you're on, I can probably handle getting people in, answering any questions that they're doing, what have you. So if there is anybody out there tonight, I pray that you're listening to her because this is an awful lot for one individual to be doing. And certainly with all that you just mentioned a moment ago, I know that you need to be paid. I don't have to guess about it. You need to be paid. And I'm praying for that. I'm praying that you'll have a person that will really be the person who knows a topic of interest. What is it? What is the hot topics? See it on Wendy Williams. What's the hot topics? And you won't have to concern yourself with that. What
So
you'll be
what
able to
you
what you'll be able to do is come on, and be able to talk about, hey, listen, this is what's going on today. Let's talk about that. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
Not excluding you, but certainly making your job a whole lot easier.
It would make it
So
so much easier. Like I'm
yeah,
one of those individuals who I put it out there before. I don't mind help. I know my lane. Like you can't tell me anything when it comes to sitting down, doing the show, coming up with questions. That's my strength.
absolutely.
Everything else is just something I have to do. If somebody else could find the guest, if
Mhm.
someone else could come up with the content,
Yeah.
if someone else can do the production, it would make my job so much easier.
Mhm. And you want them to come on with the same heart that you have because you are really your overall objective is to get the message out to people. Listen, we hear you, we know what you're going through, so we want to talk about it, but we also want to provide you with some resources. And by far, we want to let you know that you're not going through it by yourself. So that team that I believe that's going to take place. Perhaps are going to become a part of what you're doing. They need to have your heart. They don't need to come in with the mindset that maybe we can take over, maybe we can change a thing or two, or maybe we can, glean from her and go off and start it on our own. I'm praying that you get people. I'm praying that God will add and expand in that area, that people will come on board and work with you and take you to the next dimension. Because I really believe that what you're doing is really truly wonderful, and not because I'm on here. You know that many times I'm not on, but
Right.
I'm listening. And I work sometimes behind the scenes because I believe in what you're doing.
Mhm.
So thank you for sharing with us all that you do. So with all that you do, I can understand why you say it does hurt when people mimic what you do.
Yeah.
It really does, because again, we are human, and someone says, oh, you should never take ownership. No, I don't take ownership in it. But if I worked, and this is something that God has given me, I believe that I do have a say in the matter.
You know what? And that is
Yeah,
true. That now
yeah,
this is one thing I will say. After I've changed my perception of the way that I look at it, now I say I'm a trailblazer.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you took what I did and implemented it and entitled it as you did it. That's not you, even though we know you didn't do it. But I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to go to your page or tell somebody. No, I'm going to ask you, do you need help in what you're doing?
Mhm.
That's just like when I was teaching praise dance to the team. I told them, don't y'all dare go on Facebook. I mean, don't you dare go on YouTube and pick another dance that somebody else did and you do it exactly like that and then want somebody to praise you, you stole that you're a thief.
Uh-huh.
So even if you do it and you find some of their moves, implement some of your moves as well. Don't just take exactly what they did and make it yours, because you don't know what they had to go through to get the revelation from God to just come up with that you know what I mean, with that dance, that choreography. That's just not
Or
fair.
yeah, or how hard they had to work,
That's not fair.
physically, the fine tune that step. So you don't want to say that. That's one of the things about creativity. Whenever you find a creative person, he doesn't or she doesn't duplicate. They are designer originals. Everything you see comes
Original.
from them.
That's like taking
And
your pastor's sermon and he preaches it Sunday morning and then you preach the same exact thing word by word
absolutely,
Sunday
absolutely,
afternoon. Who gonna
absolutely.
listen to what you got to say? But people do.
Somebody know that you stole it. Somebody,
Somebody know
somebody,
you stole
somebody
it.
really know that you stole it. One of the things that I can attest to where you are, uh, when I was doing a lot of things in the community that was against tradition of men, uh, I would see other people implementing. And one of the things that really helped my heart was when the Lord said, "Listen, it's just an extension of your gifting. Don't
Right.
be mad, be glad that you was able to help somebody to do something." So I just want to encourage you, keep doing what you're doing. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing. My next question is, what does your joy look like today?
What does my joy
What
look
does your
like
joy look like today?
today? My
I mean,
joy
we've come through some
today
things. We've come through some things. But
My
what
joy
does your
looks
joy
like
look like
today
today?
that I am still alive and I'm
Yes, yes.
kicking. I'm
Yes.
kicking. I really believe that I'm walking in the blessings of God. I believe that He's granting me my heart's desire. Even in that joy, again, I go back to I'm still learning to discipline my mindset,
Mhm.
because sometimes my mind will try to trick me and fool me and make me think I'm still in the place of yesterday
Yeah, yeah. Mhm,
when I'm not. So every day I have to condition, every day I get up, I have to condition my mindset because I still feel aches and pains.
mhm.
Sometimes I don't have money. You know what I mean? So it's like the enemy will bring things that are familiar.
Yes,
And I have to remember I'm in a place of wealth. I'm in a place of peace.
yes, yes.
I'm in a
Amen.
place where God is blessing me.
Yeah.
So it looks good. It looks good. I believe I'm in a place of favor. A
Mhm,
lot
mhm,
of
mhm,
favor is
mhm.
in my life. And
Uh-huh.
so
And when you say you're in a place of wealth. I think that sometimes we gravitate towards being materialistic. But I see something different when you say that. I see a woman who is actually at a place in life that she's not been mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things, psychologically.
That's
And you can take great delight in that. So thank you. My next question is, if you had a friend who spoke to you in the same way that sometimes you speak to yourself, how long will you allow that person to be your friend?
Well, listen. Well, listen,
If
woman
you
of
had a
God,
person,
listen, woman of God, listen here. What had happened was, no, I am. They would not be my friend. I'm very selective of who I call friends. I have a lot of associates. I have a lot,
true,
but I
true.
don't even have a handful of friends by
Uh-huh.
choice,
Mhm,
if that makes sense. So if
mhm,
I had someone who doubled my voice,
mhm.
they would not be around. I'm sorry. They would and and I'm being honest. I probably would beat them up every day. I'd beat them up every single day.
Uh-huh.
No, they would not be a part of my life, nor my
That would
world.
not be
I
a part.
try to make sure I don't have negative people, or I'll say I don't have negative people around me.
Absolutely. And when you say I have a lot of associates, but I don't have friends. Define for us what friend means to you.
Friend means for me is an individual who will sit with me and that hit my heart again. Jesus. A friend to me means someone who will sit with me in my pain.
Mhm, mhm,
A person who will cry with me when I'm crying or I'm low.
mhm,
A person who will speak into my spirit. It is not about money. It's not
mhm,
about, like you said, material thing. That
mhm,
thing I'm used to being broke. I'm used to being homeless. I'm
mhm.
used to all that kind of stuff. But a person who is there to see my good side and my bad side, and they don't judge me nor leave me.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
friend to me is a person who is a protector,
yeah.
a person who will fight with
Mhm,
for me. I said with
mhm,
me, who will fight for me. That's what a friend is to me.
mhm, mhm. And you summed it up. I feel the same way. I want somebody that's going to be loyal, even when I'm at my best. But I want somebody who's going to be there at my weakest. You know, that they can share in seeing me in both places, or and I think you spoke correctly
And
because
everybody can't do that.
and
Everybody's
everybody can
not built for that.
and every you said it. Everybody cannot do that because
Right.
most people don't want to deal with the bad. They always like the good, and then to be able to have someone with whom you can confide in,
Mhm.
and not hear it again. That to me is a true friend. Not only not hear it again, but to have that person not to treat me differently because of what I divulged to them. I appreciate that. I really do.
Facts.
Yeah, I really do. Um, then my next question is says, what can you do today that you were not capable of a year ago? What can you do today that you were not capable of a year ago?
What can I do today
That you
I
were
was
not capable of doing
doing
a
a
year ago?
year ago? I can bring people closer to me. I can articulate how my emotions are feeling today. I can be bold enough to say I'm not in a good place today, and know that it's okay. I
Mhm.
mean, I know that these sound like crazy answers, but it's my
No,
truth.
they don't. This is all about you.
I can today look up individual in their face and say, I genuinely love you, no hidden interior, no motive.
Yeah,
I can do that. I
yeah.
can, honey, because before I couldn't tell you that I loved you. I couldn't tell you that I liked you. I just couldn't do that. And so I'm in a place now where I can do that.
Yeah, yeah, and again, as you said, you can look at that. That again is a sign of growth, where you can actually love your enemies. And the other thing was you have the capability now of bringing people closer to you. And that in itself is a blessing, opposed to pushing people away from you.
Right.
You're
Right.
bringing them closer to you. My next question said, do you think crying is a sign of weakness or strength? Because we all do, we all cry. Some of us don't cry publicly, some cry in private. You know, um, I have a friend who cries about everything. If the cat is sick, she's very sensitive. But the truth of the matter is, we all cry about something. What does it say to you? Does it say it's a sign of strength, a sign of weaknesses for you?
Listen,
I'm
you
sure you have
got
many,
some.
sure you have many times that you cry.
You're coming with some good questions tonight.
Mhm.
I think now, I think at age 52, I think that crying is a place of strength. I'm realizing that it is a place of strength. Before I used to not think that. I used to thought it was a sign of weakness, so I would cry behind closed doors.
Mhm.
Sometimes I taught myself not to cry. I was just that hard individual where you listen. It's
Uh-huh.
a fun fact. When I was getting in trouble from my parents, and I would get that beating, I didn't cry.
Mhm.
I was saying in my mind, I am not going to let them know that they hurt me, and so I wouldn't cry. And I
Uh-huh.
took that over into my adult world, and it
Mhm.
didn't work. It didn't work real
Mhm.
well for me. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that crying, it is strength, and I think
Mhm.
that everybody should take a moment and to cry, not just cry, but just yell.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
is so refreshing to
Mhm.
just yell and get it out your system instead of
Mhm.
holding it in.
Mhm. Because crying is a form of healing. You know, uh,
Exactly.
it allows you to release some things. When you look back on our culture, we were taught, that, especially with the men don't cry. And then, coming from the background where I had a stubborn mother, a self will independent mom, you never got to really see her cry unless there was tragedy, then she would.
Yeah.
So, crying is a sign of strength. It
Mhm.
says that we are human, and it says that whatever we're crying about, we'll get over it.
So I want to say this too. I had a friend of mine, fiance, and he committed suicide, and that hurt me to my heart. I'm still dealing with that, even though it was years ago.
Hmm.
And this is what taught me. This was my first break. I'll say this was my first breakthrough of crying.
Hmm.
Um, I was dealing with that, and I was trying to be funny, make everybody laugh. Didn't want people to worry about me because I was really broken. And my daughter came and sat in a recliner with me, and she said, "Mommy, it's okay to cry." My daughter grabbed me, put her arm around me. Apostle, I broke like a little kid.
Hmm.
I cried. It was so uncontrollable that she cried with me, and she's
Hmm.
holding me and
Hmm.
she's crying.
Hmm.
And I didn't just cry for a minute or two. I was crying for 15,
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, as I was crying, I kept saying, I'm sorry, Tasha, I'm sorry. She said, Mommy, it's nothing to be sorry about.
Hmm.
I was like, because I knew, but me crying, now she's crying, I'd have made her cry. And when I finished that moment, I realized that there are people who want to be there with you, who want to cry
Absolutely.
with you.
Absolutely.
There's people who want to walk through the process with you, but because we're so stern or stubborn, we don't allow them the opportunity to walk through that process with us.
Hmm. Hmm. And I think a lot of times too, you said stern and stubborn, but sometimes I think it has a lot to do with our pride. Can I trust you enough to allow you to see my vulnerable side of me? You know, um,
True.
because I don't think everybody knows how to handle us at that moment. But that was a good thing that your daughter was able to do that, to be
Hmm.
there with you. And I'm certain that you felt some release for
I
you,
did.
release and relief.
I did.
There's nothing no more, I think, disturbing or overwhelming is carrying pain internal and not being able to have some way of it being
Release.
released.
Hmm.
So again, thank you for that. Do you celebrate the things you do have? Do you celebrate the things you do have?
Do I like you mean
Yeah,
like right
and you have some things. Do
now?
you celebrate? Yeah, you can talk about your giftings and your talents, but do you celebrate the fact that you're out there, you're your own person out there, have your own home,
No,
place to live? Do you celebrate the fact that you got that nice looking Mercedes? Do you celebrate?
I don't. And I don't and that's another transparent moment. I
Mhm.
don't and I'm hoping that this helps somebody out there. I don't and I have every right to, but I don't because of people's opinion. I'm learning. Oh, you said, but I'm learning that it's okay because they weren't behind. They didn't see me when I cried. They didn't see me when I was in lack. They didn't see my struggle. They didn't see any of that. But I just feel like I appreciate it when I'm with God, but out in the public and posting and all that, nah. As you seen, I only put it up one time, but inside I'm like wanting to say, look what God can do. God is amazing, God. So nah, I don't do that.
And you don't do it because of people,
I'm gonna be honest. I don't do it because of people.
and you think that they might say or do something. Listen
No,
at what you
no. I
listen.
think I put a post up the other day. Sometimes people think that you're boasting and you're bragging when you're actually giving God glory. And one thing I realized that sometimes when you post things, I'll say only for me, I'll speak for me. A lot of times when I post something that God has done, I'm just posting it. But my inbox is loaded with people who are saying, thank you for sharing that. You know, I needed to hear that, or I needed to see that God is faithful because listen, God told me to come off my job. You know what I mean? And I'm like, come off my job. I've always had to work. And when I came off my job, he's met every single need. And I want to share that stuff. But then
But you don't because of people.
of yeah, of not making sure that I'm so mad that your eyebrow lifted. Yeah, I don't want to give people the wrong impression, or I don't want to give people the impression that I'm bragging or boasting.
And the reason why I said you said you don't want to do it because of people, I heard you say a moment ago you had to cry. You know, in other words, there were some things that were going on behind the scenes that people didn't know about, and as a result of it, it's almost like the song that Mary them sang, you know, uh, my blessing or whatever it was. But in other words, they were talking about some things that had happened in private, so now they have a right to publicly celebrate. And so I'm trying to see,
I think because
is that
I'm learning how to celebrate me. Like you just asked me a while ago, do I
Mhm,
celebrate me? No, I don't celebrate me. And the reason why is because I don't know how to celebrate me.
mhm.
So then if my friends or whoever don't celebrate me, then I'm just okay here.
I'm okay. I'm glad to have your friend on tonight. So it's good to see him again. I believe it's
Like you're
Prophet
both in the
Claiborne.
Lord.
How are you, sir? Good evening to you. Blessings to you.
That's my best friend.
You're listening at that. I saw you. I didn't raise forward enough, but I was raising forward. So I'm just I want to hear what thoughts are running through your mind, Prophet, sir.
Well, I mean, she's been my friend for 25 years, and she is what she says.
Hmm.
However, it's so funny. We are best friends, but I am like totally opposite. Like I will celebrate everything. I'm posting everything. I am like totally opposite of her, and it's so funny because she does have a lot, and she has a lot of reasons to celebrate. She's an
Can you going
amazing.
down a little bit, Prophet? I can hardly hear you. Can
She
you?
does have a lot,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
she's an amazing woman, and has a reason and a right to celebrate the things that she has. I was saying to her, I mean, you don't get the house that you get in that in the community that you have, but regardless of the community, I mean, the house is amazing. Then God blessed her, not one car, two cars. God bless her. I know why she does it. I also know the background we come from,
Yeah.
where the church background has always taught us to be so very humble.
Uh-huh.
They taught us, and they messed us up.
Yeah.
When I left my church as a
Right.
teenager, it came back. I started preaching as a young evangelist, and
Hmm.
I was preaching in these I grew up in a Pentecostal small
Hmm.
storefront. But the Lord opened doors into these multicultural churches,
Yeah.
and He opened doors around the world. And
Hmm.
I'm saying, wait, that's the same God. But they were I, what I saw that they were getting from celebrating this God, we didn't look like that. So we were shouting more and we were giving more. And I started saying to God, now wait a minute now. Now wait a minute. You say you don't have no respect of person.
Right.
But it seemed like you're messing this group over here. And the Lord said to me, but this group promised that every time I blessed them, they were going to give me glory.
That's
they were
it.
going to talk about it. They were going to tell, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that God is this good. And
Yes.
surely she impressed upon me to see what God has done.
Yeah.
And that God, I just posted on my Instagram, God is my source. She is an example of God being her source.
Mhm.
And it's not works. It's not like she had major corporate jobs, but she's had other things. She had, and again, I'm her friend, so I know she did not have that. But she
Yeah.
has always, God has blessed her. I've never not known her to not have some kind of place. Whenever I talk to her, I got a place, I got an apartment, I got a room, I got something. God has always provided for her.
Yes.
When she first told me that she was moving into that part of Delaware, I was like, but don't nobody live down there. I was like, why are you? Now, I had done it. But you know, I'm an evangelist, so Apostle, you don't have a choice. When God say go, you go. But she was, I'm like, wow, I want to learn more independent. I want to be away from my family. And she did this. She doesn't. She doesn't even talk a lot about her story when God healed, because
Yeah.
she's very humble in, but it's where we was brought. Our background was, you know, if you, my family,
Yeah.
I told my mother when I first started traveling preaching that I was going to, she loved Rod Parsley. And I'm like, I'm going to preach on stages like that. And my mother immediately, now she liked Rod Parsley, and this church is big. But she was like, well, broad is the way that leads to destruction. And she just shot down my whole spirit
Exactly.
because they taught us humbleness, 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 humbleness. And you know, I tell people right now, my mother would send me straight to hell with all the red, the different red bottles and the different pairs of shoes. And that. My mother would be like, boy, you was, but I come from the hood with food stamps that was tore out and hush puppies. So when I look at what God, yesterday, I didn't even get a chance to tell my BFF, and I'll give it back to you, Pastor. But yesterday, because I'm doing some transition,
Yes.
I gave away 100 ties,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
Wow.
including my suits, not including ties.
Uh-huh.
But I'm taking with me about 150 with me,
Yeah.
which tells me that God was blessing me even when I wasn't paying attention of how God was blessing me.
Yes.
And God has blessed Meshell in so many amazing ways. But I understand where she come from. I try to get her to celebrate some. Even when I post our birthday, she was like, "Did you really post that?" Like she's just not that person. But I'm celebrating that my friend made it to 52 with all that she's been through. I don't care what nobody say. This whole
Yes.
month, I'm going to be celebrating her because
Yeah.
October is the month. She ain't been on Instagram. She going to call me later, but I already posted her today on
Yes.
Instagram on the very
Yes.
first day and
Yeah.
say that my BFF is a walking miracle.
Yes.
She
Yes.
is a
Amen.
walking miracle. And I
Amen.
will spend all this month talking about it.
Amen.
If no one else don't celebrate, I'm pushing her. She ain't gonna do but
Yes.
so much, no matter what I do. I am totally, we are totally two different people. I'll be like, girl, let's celebrate everything. But she is
Yeah.
not that way. But I appreciate her, and I'm glad that you are doing this so that people can see another side. She
Yes.
pushes everybody else
Yeah.
and never pushes herself, and she deserves that. I yield my
Amen.
mic. Hey,
Blessings to
Meshell,
you,
I
sir.
yield my
We
mic.
love you. Thank you so much,
Wow.
Prophet.
Wow.
Bishop Lott, were you able to hear that her response to the question I just asked her? I asked
No,
her, did you celebrate the things you have? Did you hear?
no, I did not.
You did not hear.
Will
Okay.
you repeat that? No, I'm having some problem over here with being connected.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. So, Bishop, if you want to come over here, you can do that and just do it.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
I asked her, do you celebrate the things you have? And I was telling her in reference to the skills she has. She has her own house. She just bought a new Mercedes that I love. And I was asking her, did she celebrate? And she said that she put it on Facebook, but she doesn't do a lot of that because of people. And I asked her friend, her best friend. I didn't know that was her best friend. Um, and he was saying that he understands why she says that, where she comes, background. Our culture has a lot to do with it, upbringing, all those good things. But she really should, because as he said, she is a walking miracle. Really, she is. She is. I was there with her, not say physically, but spiritually was there with her. And so, what would be your response to her in reference to she doesn't celebrate because she knows what people might say, but she does, I guess, in a private way.
Well, I think we had that conversation with her because she asked me a question similar to that, you know. But I think what she need to do is acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a whole lot to acknowledge what God is doing,
Yes.
and she don't want people to think that she boasting, anything along those lines.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
but when she asked me the question, well, my answer to her was, God is my father. When I go to my father, I expect to receive from my father. If my father doesn't come through for me, I pouts like a little child because he always come through for me. And I just live that and expect that. Now, with her, how do you feel when I'm talking futuristic concerning you?
So, are you asking me a question?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm asking you
Okay,
that
for everybody,
question.
this is my boss too. Sorry. So you're at say repeat it again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, how do you feel when I'm talking futuristic to you?
Futuristic.
I know a lot of times you say, well, there you go again with that faith thing. And you try to shut me down.
Listen,
Well,
it makes
That
me
sounds just like
me.
her. Really
Well,
sounds just like her.
first of all, and I'm very transparent, night. It pisses me off. It pisses me off because I feel like I'm not there where you are, and I can't see what you are seeing in the spirit realm. I can't see that, and I know that you're talking right. So then, when you're telling me that, I'm in my mind, it's working 100%. Okay, Shell, this is what he's saying. How you going to reach that? How you going to do that? You don't got this. You don't got that. You don't. And I have a hard time settling my mindset to get where you already. And every single time it comes to pass. Every single time. So it feels weird. It feels
mhm.
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
know, I guess one other question that I would ask you is how much of your past affects your future?
how much of my past. Well, I'll say this. Not as much. I don't think as much. Wait, let me take that back. How much of my past affects my future? I think I use my past to launch into my future. I use a lot of my past in a good way to be able to share with people what not to do or what turn not to make. Or if this has happened, then I try to use wisdom to not do it the same way. Now there's different areas, because there are some areas that I don't. It's some areas that I'm not really trustworthy of everybody because of things that happen. Rather that's wisdom or rather that's holding on. I'm not sure. I'm unsure. Is that what your answer? That good enough?
Well, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. He
Okay.
didn't. Hey, Apostle, he didn't came on here, started answering questions,
Well,
and now he knows.
It's all good. I'm so happy to see Eric on tonight. Hi, Eric. How are
I am
you?
too.
Eric, do you have anything you want to maybe comment about
Apostle
what we
Bailey.
just said?
Apostle Bailey.
Yes. Yes.
Before you go to Eric, this is something I really need to.
Okay. Go ahead. Sure, Apostle.
I call. I called
Uh-huh.
Meshell a bag lady
Uh-huh.
because she carries this backpack
You see
Uh-huh.
my
and
face?
in her car she had some things. So
Uh-huh.
I said to her, I said, you had the resemblance of a bag lady. And she held that against me from the day that I said, and what was it, about 3 or 4 months later,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
then she, whatever reason she had to spill, she, and she let me know that I had offended her
Mhm.
by referring to her as a bag lady. Do you care to explain to us why that was so offensive to you?
Okay, so I'm gonna stand out. Okay, so you do not listen. You do not tell. First of all, I respect my elders. So with me talking to, I'm not disrespecting them. This is just how our relationship is. So, but one thing you do not do. This is a lesson for everybody. You do not tell someone who was homeless before that they look like a bad person. You know that's a no. Like if I have slept in my car before and I have been homeless, that may be a part of who I. Okay, so in my bag it's a backpack. In my bag is all of my business, my electronics, my computers, my Apple, all of my Apple products. So wherever I go, I take that. I never know when I may need to do ministry. I never know when I may need to do live. So instead of asking the question, why you always taking that bag? You said I look like a bag lady. Yeah, I was offended because I used to be homeless. So
Hmm.
just that's not good. Don't bring that out of your mouth towards anybody because you don't know what their backstory is. That makes sense. And I forgive you.
Yeah.
I forgive you.
Yes, it makes sense. Uh,
Ah,
the
Sister
I
reason
had to
Jackie,
why,
stand up on that. I had to stand up like, wait a minute.
the reason why, the reason why
it's gone.
See, God won't
I
even let him.
ask you to respond to that is because things that has taken place in our past that still dictate to us in the present. And so, since you are around me, I think sometimes I pull some of the triggers, and maybe it calls you to reflect.
Well, no, I
Maybe
think
you,
that I think
does
that
it?
that's
Does it?
I think something like that is necessary for everyone. To me, I believe God uses whoever, whenever, when He is in the process of taking you through a healing process, like He will use. Like I didn't even know that was there. So
Hmm.
when that came up, then it gave me an opportunity to dig in myself. Well, Shell, why did you respond like that, or why did that hurt you? You know what I mean? And so that let me know that there is still some. I don't think it dictated my past, but it showed me that there's still some residue in that area that I have not been healed. I won't say that I didn't let it go because I didn't know it was there, but it was some residue that I needed to take a minute and to get healed in that area. So I think that was very important because if you had not said it, or I wouldn't even have known that I would have responded that way. So yeah, I was homeless, and there's still some hurt to the fact that I had to be home, that I was homeless, that maybe I hadn't really gave that to God, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Any more questions, Apostle?
No, I'm going to allow her to have a good night.
He been holding on to that all day.
Okay, dokie.
She said, "Okie dokie."
That was really interesting. I was listening to it. I was listening very close, as a matter of fact.
Because
Eric, did you have any?
sometimes we do that. It's not that we're, I think people's perception may be thinking that, oh, they holding on to that from their past. Sometimes you don't know that something is still there, still residue, until you're triggered by it. And then when you're triggered by it, if you have enough wisdom, you don't look at them, you ask yourself, what made me respond like that? And that's what I did. I internalized it. Like, why did I respond? Like, why did it hurt me so bad? Because I still was hurt from the process of what I experienced.
And I learned something. I never knew that you were homeless. I never knew that. And look how the Lord is really using you in that area. That's why your sensitivity and your compassion is because you come from it.
Yep.
Eric, did you hear our question?
Oh Lord. Oh Jesus.
I didn't. I give
You
honor first.
didn't.
First of all, I want to give honor to you,
Okay.
Apostle Bailey,
How you doing?
and hello to Prophet Claiborne and Bishop
Uh-huh.
Lot. Love you, sir. Um, I just I met Meshell in 1993, and
Uh-huh.
we've been friends ever since. She's more like a sister to me than
Wow.
than a close best friend. She's
Uh-huh.
like a sister to me. You know, she rolling, I'm rocking. But I just want to say that she's a very very strong young lady.
Yeah.
Her latter years, she's been through hell and back, and she's still standing. And I respect her for everything she's been through. And you would never
Yeah.
know a lot of things that happened to her over the years,
Yeah.
with the cancer and everything, and dealing with the lupus, all that type of stuff. A lot of people don't know what her private struggles are,
Yes.
and they only see the outer appearance of her
Yeah.
and how she's constantly doing shows, doing this stuff to keep busy, so she can
Yeah.
stay active, and that's part of her ministry as well. So
Yeah.
I really commend her and what she's doing. I'm proud of her. She's got her house. She's got 2 cars. She's a single mother. She's
Yeah.
not married yet. I want the Lord to send her Boaz like ASAP. You know what I mean? Because she's not getting no younger. She's in her 50s now.
You said ASAP. You want the Lord to
ASAP.
send him what ASAP. Then do you have a reason why you said that?
Because I get on
Well,
his
well,
nerves.
well. That too.
You
That too.
said that you
She gets
wanted
on
the
my
Lord to
nerves.
send her a Boaz ASAP.
Yes, ma'am. Because she's in her 50s, and the Bible speaks that man, which means mankind, should not be alone. That's man
Yeah.
and woman should
I
not
Uh-huh.
be
can't stand
alone.
him.
And she's
Uh-huh.
been alone too long. And it's
Yeah.
time for her to get someone
Okay.
to share the legacy.
Is she getting on your nerves,
She
Eric?
do, she do from time to time, but that's what family do. You know what I'm saying? That's what family do. They get on your nerves. You still got to love them. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, don't always agree.
Yeah.
You bump heads from time to time. So
Yes.
I just want to say to her that I'm very proud of her and everything she's accomplishing
Yeah.
in the Dover area, helping the homeless people and stuff.
Yes.
It's a great need
Thank
in
you.
today's society. We want to
Yes.
dance in church, and
Yes.
we don't want to come out of those 4 walls. And that's
Yes.
what ministry is, outside of those 4 walls.
Yeah.
And I really commend what
Absolutely.
she's doing, because it's needed in the area that she's in. And I'm just proud of her, and I was having trouble getting on,
Yeah.
but I'm just glad I was able to get on and
Yes.
help support her, because she already know I'm gonna have her back regardless if nobody do. But Shell, you keep doing what you're doing. God is blessing you, and sometimes you have to share what you get blessed privately out in the open, to let people know that all those years that you sacrificed and helped people and gave and supported and praise danced and
Yeah.
ministered at people's churches and didn't even get paid for it, didn't even
Yeah.
give a love offering, a glass of water, nothing. All
Mm.
that stuff has paid off now. You're reaping
Amen.
Yeah.
what you sowed so many
Yes.
years previously.
Absolutely.
So
Amen.
I just want you to know I love you, sis. I'm proud of you. You keep letting God use you.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Eric.
Eric.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for those things, those remarkable
Thank you.
comments about Michelle. Thank you. Thank you so very much. My next question is, if you had to teach something, what would you teach?
If I had, this is an easy question for me. If I had to teach anything, I would teach that it is very important to forgive. I would teach forgiveness. I would
Yeah.
I would definitely teach forgiveness, because a lot of people they hide in their heart oughts and things against people, and you can have unforgiveness in your heart and still be a preacher or pastor. You can have unforgiveness in your heart against your family so much, but it is so important. It's liberating to forgive. And forgiveness is not just for you. I'm sorry, forgiveness is not just for them. It sets you free.
Absolutely.
And for years, I've
Absolutely.
held on to unforgiveness, and it caused me to be sick. It caused me to be it caused me to hold hatred and bitterness and rage and all of that. Unforgiveness brings in a whole lot of other stuff. So I
Yeah.
would teach on forgiveness.
Hmm. Hmm. Which is something that needs to be taught, because I don't really believe that And when I say that, I don't think we really understand all that happens, especially with us when we hold on to unforgiveness. And I also don't believe that many of us really truly know how to really address it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or embrace it. Because again, as you said earlier, there are many people who have it, but who do not voluntarily speak about it. And unforgiveness is something that really needs to be really taught. I also believe that the reason why many people don't do it is because they feel like, I've had it for so long, but there's some internal things that happen to us when we carry around unforgiveness that will affect our health.
Exactly.
It really will affect our health.
Exactly.
So,
So can I ask her a question?
sure, absolutely, Prophet. Yes.
Meshell, October is breast cancer awareness. And perhaps there's someone that's sitting on here that's listening, will be listening later. What would you say in that first initial moment that you're at the doctor's office and this is uh, revealed to you? Help somebody who has not. I watch you fight through it. I watch you be strong. But there are some who probably didn't have to uh,
Yes.
die from it, but they didn't have that support system. And that's the reason why I say that is because I wanted to take my mother's house, even though they're tearing it down. But one of the things I wanted to take, and I want you to help them and try to help families of them. And the reason why I would say that is because I wanted to create a house years ago because my mother had
Mhm.
multiple myeloma cancer for 10 years. But people don't know what the children, what the family has to deal with. And then the family, and you and I talked about this last night, don't know what the individual has to deal with. So now we got both sides. I'm wondering if you can help, help not only us here, but those who will be listening from both sides. You being the one that got the diagnosis, that initial moment, you've been trusting God, paying your tithes, giving your offerings, shouting and dancing, doing it day, and boom, this comes up. And then families who don't know how to make the adjustment or what they go through. I don't know if that's a loaded question, but it's a twofold, and you can help me.
It is a loaded question. I would say at that moment when you get that initial like cry, cry, like whatever you have to do to be human at that moment, you do it. You cry. Um, you don't have. I'm not saying accept it because some people are just super spiritual. I don't receive that. And however, let that emotion come out. Also, that's still a dark place for me. That's a place you hear me talking about everything else. You hear me being transparent about everything else except for that
Uh-huh.
place. And even though I don't have cancer, I'm still being healed in some areas because a lot happened. A lot took place behind the scenes. I felt like I tried to be strong for everybody else. I tried to act if I was okay. In all reality, I was hurting and I was broken. And I would say to be honest with yourself, if you're hurt and you don't understand, share it. You know what I mean? I think I went wrong for trying to be super spiritual. If Pat, apostle, that makes sense. Like I'll try to
Yes,
super
absolutely. It
spiritualize it
does.
and quote scriptures
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and dance and shout. And the reality was, God, why me? I don't like this. I don't want to go through this. Even taking chemo, I didn't open it up where people could go with me. I didn't let people in due to the
Uh-huh.
fact that I didn't want them to think that I wasn't trusting in God.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I hid myself behind in this closed. It was a dark. The whole cancer walk was a dark place for me. I allowed people to see the victory of God, but for me personally, I didn't open myself up so that people could walk through it with me. If that made sense. And then the people who wanted to be there, I only gave them what I wanted them to see. So be real about it.
Helps from, and I'm trying to deal with this, Apostle, but I'm with you. It's this is because I want to help some people. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes families, they don't know how to
Right.
accept
Right.
their loved one in this
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
It's not a, I think there's a fight there because the person who's going through it feel like the family should understand, and the family don't. Apostle, a lot people criticize Joe White, but the truth of the matter is she loved him.
Mhm.
And she just could not see her husband. I know people put her down, and Joe's wife should have been more understanding. But she did not want her husband hurting anymore. And she was just like, Joe, just die or something. Not because she wanted him dead, but when you love somebody, you don't want to see them hurting. So I want Shell to help him because I don't think it's an indictment. In my case, maybe I should have been there more for my mom, but I didn't know that she needed me. And I don't want other families to go through this, as well as the strain that it can be. And like you said, you kept people out, but also people should have been in. So I just want to kind of help them because I really honor you as a winner, and not just in a lot of areas, but you can help some people because you always help it. There are some people that's going to watch this show that's going to get a diagnosis tomorrow that's just got their diagnosis last week. They don't even know how to tell their family. They don't even know how to deal with it. So help them out, Chef.
So I want to say this, and this doesn't have to do with the cancer, but it does have to do with your question. So just so on Saturday, y'all know my son died years ago. I mean years ago, and I talk about that. I don't talk about it in detail, but I talk about it. Well, something happened that opened me in a whole nother level of healing on Saturday. My brother Manny came to me while we were in a church service. Someone else was prophesying to me about something, and I was just standing there, just trying to get a breakthrough. And my brother came to me off the drums, and he whispered in my ear, and he said, "Shell," he said, "I want to say I'm sorry to you." He said, "Because I wasn't considerate of what you went through." He said, "I just was talking about it yesterday." He said, "But I wasn't considerate of what you went through and how you were feeling when you lost your son." He said, "Because I was worried about how I was feeling and what I was going through." He said, "So I want to apologize to you." Hold on. He said, "I want to apologize to you for the fact of not being there for you when you needed me the most." And so I say that to say, like, a lot of times people are going through just because of the fact that no one is really, really there. Like, we can be there. I can be there for you of how I think you need me to be there. But I might just need you to be by my side and not say a word. But a lot of people can't handle stuff like that. Like, I lost a lot of friends. I mean, I'm glad y'all stayed, but I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of people who they left or they slid to the side because they didn't know what to say, or they didn't know how to handle it, or they didn't want to, they couldn't take seeing me in pain. And it was overwhelming. And that's another reason why I said that was really it was really a dark place. And I'm asking God, still heal my emotions of that. We look at people out of the way that we want to see them. Like, she went through cancer, and oh my God, is she dancing? She's so strong in it. No, people go through behind closed doors of what you see. And do we ever take a minute to stop and just ask, how are you feeling? So that's why I was like, what Apostle is doing right now for me is amazing, and it's healing, because it's things that I never got a chance to talk about because I'm so busy creating a platform for other people to be able to share so that they can be healed. And then at the end of the night, I'm still not healed.
That's what I wanted to hear. Apostle, I'm gonna give it back to you, but I wanted to
Sure,
share.
you're fine.
I wanted to strengthen some people. I wanted to tell families that sometimes they just need you to be there. Sometimes, Eric, we need Job's friends when they wasn't saying nothing. The Job's friends who came in the beginning, and they just sat there.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just need that. And I think in this space, because we're coming in this month, and some people, they may not have the answers, but would you say, Shell, sometimes people, a person in this space just need you to be there. Let them cry, let them vent.
Right.
They ain't
I
looking for
don't need
answers.
you to, I do not, listen, not me, people. They don't need you to fix them. Stop trying to fix people and just be there. Like just your presence alone, just be, we steady trying to have a solution for everybody's problem or a solution, right words to say. You're making me mad. Just be, I want to cry, but I can't cry because you're giving me scripture. Just be there. And I think until we learn that, it's going to be a mess. A lot of people are going astray or put their walls up simply because they feel like that they're not understood, or they don't, you know. I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I just need a shoulder to lean on. If I want to cry, it's okay. If I don't want to cry, it's okay. If I just want to lay my head down, it should be okay. Apostle, sorry.
I think that, thank you so much, because that was at the end of my questions. Um, I should have made it first. But however, I'm glad that it came up. I think that we really need to be empowered about cancer. Whenever
We
we
do.
hear the word cancer, immediately we think about death. And there is so much more that we don't know. And because of what we don't know, we tend to make those people who have been diagnosed with it, you can be overwhelming because of your lack of knowledge. I just had a dear bishop friend of mine's who just passed with breast cancer. And I was grateful for her empowerment, things that she shared with me in reference to being diagnosed with it, things that she shared with her family, what they could do and what they should not do. And so I think, again, uh, prophet is what you said, and it is something that is very much needed, because if you don't know what to do, then you tend to do the
Yes.
wrong thing. And I know, I think, sharing and talking with someone today, there's a certain amount of independence that we all have. There's a certain amount of pride that we all have.
Yeah,
Come on, let's face facts.
yeah,
Um, One of the things, I said this to a family maybe about 5 years ago. One of the things that we hold on to, whether we got Alzheimer's, whatever, sometimers, summertime, or whatever, we tend to hold on to our independence. And we have great pride about that. And I think a lot of times people that who are diagnosed with it are very private. If they're not private, they have a lot of pride. And sometimes with that pride, they're not talkative about it.
yeah,
So we have to know when and where and what we need to do. But I think those of us who are Christians, we need to be empowered there, because we know Jesus. We know that he's a healer. We know scripture. But sometimes it doesn't mean that a person has a lack of faith, that they're not believing God. But the human side of us, because that's the way he made us, the human side of us are going through some things inwardly,
yeah.
because we've never been here before. And so, again, that word, when it comes up in the mindset of the African American, it means death.
It
And
does.
so, can I
And,
say
and, and,
this?
and
I
and
would,
a lot of times, go ahead. I'm sorry.
even if a person, even if a person does not make it, don't say they lost the battle. They didn't lose nothing. Well, they lost the battle or they had lack of faith. You don't know. You don't know. You have no, because
Because you
listen,
haven't had it
sometimes
happen to you.
God can heal people over in glory. It doesn't mean that they lost the battle. I think we put stuff out there to
Well,
be.
well, again, I think it's because
Culture.
we again like knowledge. I mean, we can take not that I'm trying to switch that conversation, but sometimes if a person passes, they actually transition from earth to heaven. If you're not careful, you find folk who don't know what to say or what to do, have offended somebody, or they've done something, said something that they should not have. We're at a place where we really need to be taught. One of the things that we don't like to talk about a lot about as Christians. Somebody asked the question, and I asked the question as well. Do you want to be the person that knows what he's doing? Or do you want to be the person who looks like they know what they're doing? I want to be the person
No,
know what they're doing.
I want
So
to. I
in
want.
knowing what I don't know, I'm not afraid to ask. And I know she's resting in heaven. She didn't lose the fight.
No,
She really didn't lose the fight
no.
because, as again as you said, uh, it took great faith to endure chemo. She told me that, and she was taking the highest form of it, where it took her hair, it took her eyebrows, it took everything, nails, toenails, all of it. But yet, when you
See
talk to her,
that, even that right there,
yeah,
like you have no idea what people. I had memory foam where I
yeah,
had to call my father because it was the first time it happened, and I'm crying. I'm at work and I'm crying because I could not remember what I was supposed to do, or I'm driving. I didn't know
absolutely,
where I was supposed to be going,
absolutely,
and I had to
absolutely.
call my father. My father prayed with me. My dad was like, take a notebook, paper, and a pen everywhere you go. But before you leave, just put where you're going.
Mhm.
And I had a notebook that had addresses and different things on there. Or I would lose some of my eyesight or my hair. It was so much. I went down to 98 pounds. And so when people see now, you only see the glory, but you have no clue what I went through or what that person went through or how many people left. Even to the fact where I lost stuff. I got evicted because I couldn't work. I didn't have the finances. And we made phone calls to people and people didn't have money. Or, I wish I had. I don't want to hear I wish I had. I just sold into y'all. So it was one of those things, and I really had to ask God to help my heart. Some
Mhm.
things that I had held on into
Yeah,
my heart
yeah.
that I felt like people, it wasn't because people didn't want to be there. I think it was because people didn't understand or
Key.
people didn't know how to
That is
walk
the key. It's key. Right.
their grand
Absolutely. Do not
what
know. Do
they
not know.
their
Right.
parents, even in the death, quoting scriptures, that's good. But know when to quote the scripture and know when to lend out a helping hand and be there for an individual.
Absolutely. Again, we need to be empowered about almost about a lot of things.
Mhm.
you know, that's why we need to learn how to embrace the teacher of that fivefold ministry. Amen. Thank you again for sharing with us, and thank you, Prophet Claiborne. It was at the end of my questions. I probably won't get through all of these, but I do have one more that I would really, a couple more really I would like to ask, and then we're going to probably sign off
Okay.
to another time. And I think I asked you already about if you had the chance to teach, what would you teach? And you talked about unforgiveness, and I think that is great. I think that is really great, and I think it's something that needs to be taught more than ever. But I was looking at another question that I wrote down here, and it says, "Which activities make you lose track of time?"
Which
Which
activities?
Hanging
activities
with me, hanging with me, hanging with me.
Which activities make me
makes you
lose
lose track
track?
of time? Huh?
That's another easy one. The activities of being with my grandkids.
I get ready to say,
I
I'm the
got
grandma. I'm the grandma.
I just lose being with my grandkids and my daughter. That I mean I don't know whether you can call it an activity, but I just don't even put the time limit on it.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Being with grandkids. I was waiting to hear that. Being with grandkids will make you lose track of time. Track of time. And my other question is it possible to lie without saying a word? Is it possible?
Are you asking me or are you just asking
I'm
in
asking you.
general?
Is it possible to lie without saying a word? I'm asking you. Is it
Yes,
possible?
people do it 24/7. I just believe, and I said that one time before. People act out a lie. I have acted out a lie before. I acted like I ain't like a person. I mean, I acted like I like the person. I ain't like them. So yeah, I believe that I believe it is possible.
Absolutely. It happens all the time. I can remember um, working on a job wherein the last person that got hired was a female. And we began to miss different things from the office setting. And I remember we got a end of the year bonus. So all of us had a large sum of money and we cashed it and put it in our purse. And unbeknown to us, this young lady, the last person that came on was hired. She she was stealing. As a matter of fact, she'd been
Wow.
stealing all along, but she stole uh, everybody's bonus except for me because I was wise. I did not put my money in the pocketbook. I actually kept it with my two trusted friends. Need I say more? But however, when it come down to our director called in, the executive director called in the police, and the police came in and he talked with each one of us and he said, I already know who the thief is. And I'm saying to myself, how do you know who the thief is? He said, because I could tell by their body language that
Mm,
when I asked the question, did they do this? They said no, but their body language said yes.
yes.
And I said to him, inquisitive minds want to know, as I'm not an inquirer, but inquiring minds want to know. So I said to him, I said, sir, how were you able to do that? He said, you can always tell when a person is lying. He said, you watch their neck down here. And you watch, when you ask the question, you watch their heart go, and you see it skip a beat.
Mm-hmm.
He said, that's your thief. I was like, oh my God.
And you don't
He
even
said,
got
you always know
you don't have
whether
to use
people are telling you
discernment
the
for
truth or
that.
not. He said, and then if they swallow hard, he said, you have the right individual. I was like, wow.
That
I
didn't
said,
even take no. You didn't even need discernment for that.
kidding. So people do lie without really opening their mouths.
Right.
And it happens a lot in church. Need we say more? It does. It does. It
No.
happens a lot in church and with people in general. My next question is, what would you regret not fully doing or having in your life? What would you fully, what would you regret not fully doing or having in your life? What would you regret?
I would regret not being able to really fall in love,
Hmm.
to experience love.
That's another question I got right.
I would regret that not
Mhm.
being able to really experience because I've
The
experienced
joy of having someone who loves you.
true
Mhm.
love. I've
Yes.
experienced lust.
Mhm.
I've experienced all that other stuff, but the true meaning and feeling of genuine love, no
Yeah.
hidden motive or anything. I would
Hmm.
regret that if
Yeah.
if if I didn't get
Yeah. And I got that right. I said that. I said that
that.
about you. And my prayer was for you is that you have the opportunity wherein someone comes, not just anybody. I think the was it Eric that says Boaz, I want Boaz to come. And not
Exactly.
not not Bozo. I don't want Bozo, but we want Boaz to come and actually give you everything that you rightfully deserve. I really, that was my prayer. When I was putting the questions together, that's the one thing I stopped and really prayed for you, that that individual will come and allow you the joy of being married and spoiled and all those good things by
Oh,
someone that
because
loves you.
listen, I have a lot of people who are inbox message, but I'm not moved by, it takes a lot to move me.
Yeah.
That's the flattery doesn't move me. I mean, I'm not, Eric can tell you, I'm not easily moved. I'm not needy. I'll say that. I'm not, I'm just not a needy person.
Mhm. Well, it shows a true sign of maturity. It shows that you're not that little silly little girl. You're actually a woman. You've grown up because women, they know. They're not carried away by everything. You know, you can have a nice car, you can have good looks, but that does not impress. You're looking for something, whatever your preference is. You're looking for that. So my prayer is that you find that individual and he'll love you, spoil you, take you places you've never been before. And my prayer is that the Lord will hold back his return so he can give you the pleasure of that.
My God.
And then you can be like us, you can celebrate 44 years.
But
You can hang
I
in there.
even though you said it, I prayed, I did pray. I prayed to the Lord because my grandmother, she left here to face of the Lord, and she was older and she didn't get a chance to experience that. And I told the Lord, please, if it's anything inside of me that still needs to be healed or what have you, let me go through that process because I really want to be able to experience. I mean, I got a lot of stuff, but I got a husband.
And I share this a lot with the single women. And so you got to remember that he is your father. He's your heavenly father. You are his daughter. And I said we can compare that even in the natural. Every father who has a daughter wants the very best for his daughter. He does not want her to marry some hood rat. He doesn't. He doesn't want her to marry some slick Rick somewhere. He doesn't want that. He really wants the best for her. And I've known fathers like that,
Nice.
and I can speak about that even for my husband. When my daughter was dating, he was he was on. He was on point. He asked questions and he checked them out. And sometimes he would say he's not the one for you. And again, as I share with the single women, I know sometimes it makes you angry because you do meet somebody that you really like and you have great interest in. And I know that it's really disappointing when God says, he's not really the one for you. I said, but take that, please, by all means, take that because he
Can
is
I
our heavenly father. He has a responsibility. His responsibility is to provide you with the very best.
Can I
You know,
say this?
God said the
Listen,
same thing.
my mother, she tells everybody, listen, she will pray an individual out. Eric is living with, he can tell you, she will pray an individual out of my life. Lord, if he is not the one, get him out of there. And so people may come and say that the Lord told me that you're my wife or what have you, and then something happens and they're gone. I don't even really get saddened by any.
Behind the scenes praying.
I know I'm like, I know my mom, she'll meet you, she may like your vibe, but trust me, she's praying. If he's not the one, get him out of there. And every single time they're gone. But I also want to say this real short that if you are single, don't
Yes,
don't let anybody push you to get married ahead of time. Don't allow anybody to force you or to make you feel like something's wrong with you. No, nothing is wrong with you because you're single. I
or
used to
that you have to do something.
I used to feel that way. I felt like God, you cursing me. I'm looking at people who got 5 and 6 kids and then they get married, or they got their living boo and then they get married. And I said, is this how you get a man? By doing it the wrong way? But then their marriages don't work, or they
Absolutely,
fussing and they hollering, or they getting a divorce.
absolutely,
Listen, wait on God and allow God to heal you. I'm always saying
absolutely.
that. Let him heal you because there's a lot of women and men out there who's been raped and molested and they've not got healed from that. And then God brings you your good thing and he comes and he touches you the wrong way. And now you remember what happened to you in your past
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
he's done nothing, but now you took. So I think that that's so very important to take that minute. And if it takes a little minute, it's okay. Don't let people make you feel bad because that perfect thing hasn't came yet. So
I
like
love
somebody
that.
said a while ago, that God could be fixing him up. I don't want no person who's still hanging on to their past and that has trust issues. And if I'm working on mine, I would like for them to work on theirs too. I know they're not going to be perfect, but my God, I'm supposed to be a help me. And that's what I expect for me to be that gift to that individual and be that help me, not someone that's going to hinder their walk. If that makes sense.
Because absolutely it makes real sense, because a father wants you to have the very best. And that is the thing that you have to always remember, that he wants you to have the very best. And sometimes I think we get it a little bit twisted. We get confused because we don't, we want the best looking. And there are some packages that don't have the looks, but they have the contents. And always
Exactly.
remember that they may not look, outwardly appealing and all that kind of stuff, but they have some things inwardly that will suffice
And know who
for
you
you.
are, because honey, I'm
So
not girlfriend material. I'm not boo material. I'm a whole wife.
there you go. Absolutely. And as you said before, don't lower your standards. Don't lower them.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
a
do
whole
that.
wife.
You can care less about what they say, what they think. I know who I am. You're arrogant. You stuck up. You did. No, I know who I am. I'm waiting because I've already prayed to God and he knows what my preference is. And I'm not going to substitute that.
Why
I am
Eric looking at me
definitely
like
am.
that? Look at I can't stand here. Why you looking like that,
Eric, is she gonna get that? Is she gonna get that husband? You're looking at like, Lord,
Eric?
do you want him to come right now?
I'm gonna stay saved on tonight. I just
I
want
love
the
him.
Lord.
Thank
I
you.
just
He
want
said
the
he's gonna
Lord
stay
to.
safe on tonight.
I just want the Lord to bless her with her man for the latter part of her years. But she has to stay in place and prepare herself daily to
Yeah.
be a whole wife.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let me find
Hey
out.
now you got it from the mouth of Eric.
He gets on my nerves. He gets on my nerves.
I want to ask you one more, and I think we're going to quit because it's 9:48,
Okay.
almost 10. But this question I had to chuckle at. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? How old would you be if you didn't know how old
I would be 20 years
how old you are?
I would be 20 years old and with a 20-year-old shape.
What you say?
I
20
said
years?
I would be 20 years old with a 20-year-old shape.
Okay. All right now, 20. What do you have to say about that, Prophet? I see him.
He said, look, hey,
I
you
see
see,
Prophet
Eric got
Claiborne
booted
looking
off
off.
because he was
I
a
see him
face on
looking off.
smart.
He's like, wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute.
Younger than she is, but I don't know.
By 20.
Yeah, I don't know about 20. That's a little bit. That's pushing it a
20
little
was
bit.
the good days. 20, I'd be 20.
You were in your 20s. You was. I don't know. I like the shape now than when you were in your 20s.
But that don't count because you're my best friend, so that don't count. What
That's
you
what
and
it
Eric
is.
say don't matter. I
Well,
would
And
be 20.
she had an
how,
attitude back then, Eric. She had an attitude back then. I'm not
are you
sure when
saying
we go
she
back
would
to
be
that.
20, Prophet Claiborne, or she would not? No, not 20.
30, 30
30.
something, 30 something, but not 20.
Not what do you think? Not 20. She would make it at 20.
She was no.
He said, because I'm
I
mouthy.
give her 43. I give
You
her
I
said
was
you're
43.
going
43.
30.
You said
I
she would
would
be 43.
I would give her at least 36, but I wouldn't go under that. She was.
So
I
why
need her.
and why? But you didn't say why not 20. You
I
didn't
need
say
the
why not.
solid you, the 20 you, the 20 early. I don't know. You were doing your own thing, but no.
I was a mess.
So she would be doing her own thing at 20. I got you.
And you do
Yeah.
not want this Meshell at 20 because her mouth.
Oh my God.
And
She's not gonna make it. She's not gonna
she's not
make it
gonna
with her
make
mouth.
She said her mouth.
her mouth is bad.
And she eat too much. She eat too much now.
And
I
she
love
like
I love food. I do. I love
she
food.
like to eat.
Hey, your male friends are really hard on you.
They are, you know what? They
Apostle,
are, and I love them.
Lot. I asked Meshell. I said, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are?" She said, "I would be 20 with a 20-year-old shape." Do you have any comments on that? Her best friends, think that that's not a good age for her. Prophet Claiborne said, "Mouth is not gonna work."
Wow.
Eric, what did you say? Eric, what did you say? Just ain't gonna work.
20.
Absolutely not.
Not,
She was a
no.
lot skinnier
Absolutely
in her
not. Bishop
20s.
Apostle Lot, what do you say?
No.
Well,
20?
I don't know about that. From what I heard her say when she was 20, she was an ugly duck.
So
I
20,
did.
so
I
20 is not a
was.
good
Isn't
age.
that what you said?
That's what I said. That's what I said. But my
Meshell, you got to throw 20 out. 20 is not gonna work.
no, because at age 20, I wasn't worried about what people said.
Yeah.
I was carefree. It
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Doing
If
you.
I want, yeah, if
Doing
I
you.
wanted something to happen, if you didn't do it, I was gonna do it, and I just had a I don't care attitude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You was doing you at that time. All right.
Mm.
All right. Then my next question is, when it's all said and done, will you have said more than done more?
Nah, I think I would have done more. I really think I have done more. I don't share a lot of things that I do and am doing quietly and behind the scenes.
Mhm,
And I've done a lot and I do a lot.
mhm, mhm,
So like I said, like the stuff that God has given me, I don't say much about it,
mhm.
but it's happened. You know what I mean?
I,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think
And
Michelle
that is
needs
a,
to say more.
go ahead.
I tell Michelle all the time, I know preachers, Apostle Bailey. I know them across the board.
Yes.
I know preachers, so that's not. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of me. I'm a motivational speaker who have been on with Les Brown and some of the best.
Yeah.
What this woman says in a few minutes on her live
Mhm.
is so powerful. If you
Yes.
ever
Yes.
catch her live, what
Yes.
she said, I tell her all the I be losing it. Like I be texting her like, "Oh my God, did you just say that?" And I'm not enamored or moved just because she's my friend. Because if she didn't know how to put
Yeah.
things together, I'd be like,
Right.
"That's not your calling." We friends, so I would tell her the truth.
Right.
That's not your calling. But
Hmm.
one day I heard her do this prayer or this talk, and I said to her, "Girl, you done missed something. Like this is." You got something you need to
Yes.
share it with the world. And then when
Yes.
she do every now and then, she doesn't do it a lot, but whenever
Yeah.
she does, she will tell you, I don't miss. If I don't catch it then, I will catch that lot. And she always says something so powerful. I don't
Yes.
care if it's 30 minutes. She will do more, but she definitely needs to sit.
Wow.
People remember what you do, but let's be honest. Most of us remember Eric, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. We remember what they
What he
said.
said.
We
Absolutely.
remember what Obama said.
Mhm.
Our leaders in our community, we remember what they said. There are
Mhm.
people, I've been preaching 33,
Mhm.
34 years, who still remind me of stuff that they heard 34 years. I done changed size, I done changed all of this. So it's not that we don't remember what people do, but we absolutely quote. Years later, Martin Luther King, 40-something years dead, and
What
we
he
still
said.
quote what he
Absolutely.
says.
Absolutely.
That's a lot. I'm sure can agree that members can say stuff that he probably done forgotten all the years of preaching. They'll be like, Pastor, you said this. They'll be like, did I say that? Because people remember what you say. And I believe that when it's all said and done, folks, more so than what she do, they're going to remember the words that she
Absolutely.
say. And I would like
Yes.
to encourage her to say more because people are going to remember the things she say.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, Prophet. I'm in agreement with you. as well. I believe that because as you named those folks, we're still talking about what they said, and we still use some of their quotes again, and powerful encouragement, Michelle, powerful, and thank you for that, Prophet. We need it. We need to hear that, and let's not forget that because she is doing a phenomenal job here. I mean,
Yes.
it's called really stepping out of the box, absolutely. But it's also talking about being real and meeting life's real issues. And people want to hear that. You have more people that respect folks who are not afraid to really talk about what they're going through.
True.
And better yet, they respect you more when you tell them how they can get out of it, or you can provide some resource that they need. You know what I mean. So I'm in agreement with what you said, sir. Thank you so very much. I'm getting ready to. We're getting ready to. I guess I should say. I've had a wonderful time. Thank you again
True.
for
Me too.
actually choosing me to do this. Your 64-year-old grandma. Uh,
Well, I also want to let everybody know because they don't know that you actually are the spiritual mother of this show. And a lot of my topics or a lot of things that I wanted to do that didn't make no sense, that you were always there for me to call and vent and share and see what you thought. Most of all, you were my first guinea pig when I started the
Absolutely.
show. So I just want to say thank you for trusting in me. And
Yes.
I think going on 6 years later, here
Yes.
we are. On November the 15th, I got to make sure, see whether it's 5 or 6, but no, November the 15th will be another year anniversary that we made it through. And
Absolutely.
there's literally been hundreds of people who have been across this platform. My prayer to God is to take it farther than where it is right now. I
And I
believe
hope you're celebrating on that day. I hope you're celebrating. You need to celebrate.
I will. If I
And
got
so,
help, we will. If I
yeah.
have help, we will. If I have help,
Well,
we will.
you just let me know whatever I can do. I'm honored. I'm
And then
really
I got,
honored.
I got, I
I
got,
believe
I
in
got
everything.
Bishop Lot down there who also does what you do, and I'm grateful because some things I be coming up with, like community days and all that kind. It don't even make no sense,
Mhm.
but y'all trust whatever that I say, and so I'm grateful for that.
Mhm.
Um, that's about it. You are the host of the show, so however you want to end it.
Absolutely. I would like to thank all of you for being on, and especially my spiritual father, Apostle Lot. Love you so much. Thank you. It is good again to see you, Prophet Claiborne. Asked about you not long ago. I couldn't get your name right, but she helped me. Michelle helped me. I don't want to mess up anybody's name. Of course, I'm always asking about you, Eric. I said, "Where's Eric?
Yeah.
How's Eric doing?" I want you to know that. Again, I'm honored, as I said before. Thank you so much, and I hope something that was said. I think it's a real a privilege as well as an honor to talk with you and to hear you. So many times you're out there interviewing other people, talking about this, talking about whatever, but just to be able to sit and be able to hear you talk about who you really are, I think it is probably having a great impact on those who are a part of keeping it 100 with Michelle. So again, I want to thank you. I love you. I just have this one question that I wanted to ask you. If you had the opportunity to get a message across to an enormous group of people, what would it be? And we're going to close with prayer.
That message would be again on forgiveness. It would be on forgiveness to free yourself from the box that people put you in, free yourself from the box that you put yourself in. It is so important to release and to let go. Trust that what it is that is weighing you down, that is making you cry, that is overwhelming you. Trust the fact that God's arms is big enough to handle it. And
Amen.
also remember the fact that everything that concerns you, your mental, your physical, your family, your circumstances, if it concerns you, then it concerns God.
Absolutely. 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 And thank you so much for that. Again, we've talked about those people who have been diagnosed with cancer. We'd like to say to you, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of knowledge out there. There's a lot of resources out there. So if you're listening tonight and perhaps you know of someone, maybe it could be your loved one, could be a friend, or it could just be a coworker, whomever, please don't hesitate to say to them, listen, get the facts. And if you need help in other areas, there are resources out there that can plug you in so that you can know what to do, how to do, and when to do. Again, thank you so much. I love you. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to ask my father in the gospel if he would actually close us out with prayer. And again, Meshell, I love you. And you know, I'm always going to be here.
Thank you. You did an
Apostle Lot, love
excellent
you.
job. You did an excellent job on
Thank you so
tonight.
much. Thank you so much. Apostle Lot, you want to close us out with prayer? I love you. Can't wait to see
Yes.
you.
God, we praise you for everything that you're
Yes, Lord.
doing in the life of
Yes,
Meshell. And we pray that the
yes,
Holy Spirit will continue to lead her and guide her.
yes,
And God, we pray that she will never miss an
yes,
appointed time.
yes,
And
Lord.
God, we pray that you will provide her with all the resources that is needed, that she
Yes.
will be able to transition into the next
Oh,
phase
God, in the
of
name
her
of
life
Jesus.
and of
Yes,
her
Lord.
ministry and her career.
Yes, yeah.
In the name of Jesus,
In
God,
the
we
name of
pray
Jesus.
that even those that are hearing, give them a giving spirit,
Yes, Lord.
God, that they will be given to her willfully, that she will be able to
Yes,
continue to, God, to make advancement. And
yes,
there are many things, God, that you have already spoken to her, and she needs finance. We pray
yes,
now in the name of Jesus that
yes.
those that have the
Supply
gift
and
of
meet
giving
every
will
need,
give
God.
tremendously in the name of Jesus. Maybe you should put your cash app up.
Yes, absolutely. What is your cash app? Put it up.
Okay, hold on just a second. Oh, Lord, I almost didn't know it.
And we like to say to you tonight, as she put her cash app up, please um, do so into her ministry. What she's doing is just phenomenal. And it does require money. So thank you in advance for giving.
So I definitely, and I want to say that our show, I don't know I'm doing it, but our show, we randomly we will do, we sew into people. We do like lunch things, and we don't sew a little bit. It's $50 to $200. We always give back to the community. We give back to people who are in need. That's what the show is definitely all about.
Amen. So it's going on good grounds. So her cash app is up. And we say to you again, please don't hesitate. So into Meshell, keeping it real 100. I love
Keep it
you.
100.
Keep it 100. See, I can change it. I can mess it up in a
I
minute.
love
All
it.
right. Hey, keeping it 100. All right. We love you guys. Thank you again. It's been my honor and it's been a pleasure. And we look forward to seeing you real soon.
All
God
right.
bless.
Thank you and
Have
good
a good evening.
night.
All right. God bless.